Welcome to Better Banking Television. My name is Paul Gentile. Better Banking Television is a presentation of the Credit Unions of Rhode Island intended to help you become a better manager of your finances. Did you know that as financial cooperatives, credit unions are governed by a different business model than that at other financial institutions? One of the key principles that distinguishes the credit union business model from others is a commitment to education. Credit unions firmly believe in education, offering their members an assortment of financial classes and programs. Credit unions believe that the more you know and understand about finances, the more empowered you become in safeguarding and managing your hard-earned money. For credit unions, financial education is a lifelong necessity, important to members of all ages. And that explains why this month we're going to give you a close-up look at what credit unions call a CU for Reality Fair. It's one of the many financial education programs credit unions sponsor for school-age kids and young adults. A CU for Reality Fair is designed to help them develop an understanding of what it means to live within a budget. It also helps them learn the importance of saving to meet life's unplanned challenges and emergencies. In this month's program, we'll take you to a recent CU for Reality Fair conducted for students at Narragansett High School. But first, we want to introduce you to Mark Hayward. Mark is the Regional District Manager of the Small Business Administration Office in Providence. If you're an entrepreneur, running your own business, or looking to start one, the SBA can be a truly valuable resource. I recently visited Mark at his office to discuss the SBA and the many ways it helps us to fuel local businesses around Rhode Island. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us here today on Better Banking as we try to
Nice to be here.
trying to educate Rhode Islanders on important financial issues. So the Small Business Administration, really important to the state of Rhode Island, the small business community. A number of our credit unions work with the SBA. Can you first just give us a basic overview? What is the Small Business Administration?
You know, it's funny because SBA, the Small Business Administration, is a federal agency. It's the most entrepreneurial of all agencies you're ever going to find because we really do want to help people get into business and stay in business. And when it was started back in 1953 by President Eisenhower, the whole focus was we have a lot of, and they were just coming out of the war, and there was a lot of focus on big business, but his concern was how do we pay attention to what's happening to the small entrepreneur, to the mom and pop stores, to how do we get access to capital, how do we get training, how do we get counseling to them. So SBA was then born, and we are a little bit over 60 years old. And we have morphed, thank God, because we've come kicking and screaming into the 21st century. But basically, SBA is there to help the business individual who wants to get into business, for those who are in business, how to get access to capital, how to thrive and survive. And for those who really are looking at a possible business venture, to figure out how do we start? Because you just don't walk into a bank and say, hey, can I have some money? Sure. Or a credit union or any kind of financial institution. There is a process that you have to go through, and that's what the SBA is all about, teaching.
Great. I think sometimes people what is a small business? Is it 2 people? Is it 1,000 people? What do you consider a small business today?
Well, by SBA size standards, it's 500 employees or less. So you see there's a lot of people in that bucket.
Sure.
But most of the businesses that we deal with are businesses, in fact, most of the businesses in the state of Rhode Island and across the country, 98.7% of all businesses are 100 employees or less.
Right.
So when you look at the numbers, it's really pretty small. So we deal a lot of one-person businesses, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20. It's really, it's an interesting perspective because you would deal with the person who has 50 employees the same that you would deal with somebody who has 5.
Right. So you mentioned earlier, it could be daunting for a small business owner to approach a credit union or a bank to try to get some funding for whatever they may be doing. What is the advice you give your small business owners when they come to you about how to begin this process of getting more capital?
Well, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. So the bottom line is most people, businesses don't plan to fail, they fail to plan.
Sure.
And that's fundamentally the issue that we deal with everybody who comes through the door here. We have technical assistance providers at SCORE who basically are individuals who are either in business or retired from business that help people down the path. There is a systematic way if you want to get access to capital. We also have the Center for Women in Enterprise. We have the Small Business Development Center. All 3 of those resource partners and the people who work here in the district office will tell you, you need a business plan. It does not have to be something that looks like War and Peace, But it certainly has to be something where you as a lender have to be able to look at that and say, here's the business, here's the competition, here's what I need. And fundamentally, the error that people make when they're doing financial statements is they go and say, how much can I get? That's not really the good question you want to ask. You have to lay out to a lender, this is what I need and this is why I need it. And so what we try to do is we try to help people understand from all kinds of business perspective what you need, how that financial plan is going to work with your business plan, who your competition is, and how you're going to actually get your revenues, and what that capital access is going to be required from a bottom line so that you're not undercapitalized.
Sure.
And I think too many times we see businesses that individuals go into business and they're tremendously undercapitalized, and it's a prescription for failure. So one thing that I tell people is we don't do 100% financing. The bank doesn't do 100% financing. But that does not mean that you can't get a loan from a family member, from a friend, could be an enemy, it doesn't make any difference to us, and take that money, invest it in the business, and actually do a standby agreement. And what happens is that individual will get paid back down the road, but it gives you the equity injection that you need to start the business. Every business has to have equity.
Sure, absolutely. So as you look around today, we're in a very low interest rate environment.
Correct.
Unemployment is ticking down. What do you see the marketplace here in Rhode Island? Is there a lot of activity? Do you see more small businesses being created, expanding? What's kind of our activity level here in the state?
It's funny, in a down economy, we will see a lot of people try to develop businesses. But in an economy that's coming up, we see even more. And say, why is that? And that's because everybody's trying to capitalize on whatever's out there. And we see a lot in the service industry. We see a lot in the restaurant industry. Right. We're seeing a lot in the technical side. Computers, software,
sure.
Engineering. There's a lot of new businesses that are being created. The only thing that we encourage people is, if you're going to get into a business, have some kind of background or education right. or support in that particular field. Because the last thing, just because you can cook does not mean that you can own a restaurant.
Sure.
And that's a fundamental problem that we have. You
right.
need to be able to understand the entire hospitality industry from soup to nuts in order to be successful.
Right, absolutely. As you know, credit unions really believe in the SBA and what the SBA does. And we want to work with our members, obviously, and try to give them the best products and services we can. What are some of the popular programs that a small business owner will run into when they go to a credit union for financing through the SBA?
The two major programs that the SBA has is what we call our standard 7A program and our 504 program. So 7A basically is a loan that can be $1,000 to $5 million, and it's guaranteed by the SBA to the lender. So while there are a few additional documents that the borrower has to provide, it really is safety, soundness, and security to that credit union that actually wants to put that money into the community to start the business. But we want to make sure that we know that there's probably a collateral shortfall there. We know that in order to extend the terms and conditions, you have to put a 7A guarantee on it. And we're really the partner of the bank. We're the partner of the person who's borrowing the money, but basically the partner of the bank. Because if that loan goes bad, which we hope it does not, but there, on occasion,
sure.
every once in a while, a loan will go bad, the SBA will pay the bank whatever the guarantee portion is on that. For
right.
example, if we're guaranteeing 80% of $100,000, we'll pay out the $80,000 to the bank. We will liquidate all of the assets, and then we will pari pursue. We will get 80% of whatever the liquidation is,
sure.
and the bank will get 20%.
Right. Okay. So that's a 7A program.
That's a 7A program.
You have the 504 program.
The 504 program is very interesting. It was started back in the 1980s. And the fundamental issue with this was we were going to let the banks go into first position by themselves. So let's take $1 million building. This is only for fixed assets and machinery and equipment. So $1 million building, you are responsible as the borrower to come up with 10%. So we're talking about a $900,000 loan.
Sure.
The bank goes into first position for 50%. So if something happens to the loan, you're sitting in first. If there's a liquidation, you're going to get paid out first. The SBA comes in with a debenture that's sold on the secondary market in second position, and right now they're selling anywhere between 4.5% and 5%, 20 years fixed, and that's pretty good interest rate for a long-term fixed loan. So it gets a small, I call it the window to Wall Street for small business, because it allows small businesses to borrow money at rates that big businesses are currently borrowing, because you're borrowing on the secondary market.
Great. So those are two great programs financial institutions can offer that small business can take advantage of. So having seen a lot here, I think you've been here since 1991.
I've been here since 1991. I have 35 years of federal service, and I have 3 more to go, and I'm out.
That's terrific. But having seen all this throughout your years, all these small businesses, anything come to mind where you see a common factor for a small business that succeeds? They have a common sort of ingredient when you see success.
Yeah, success really is determined by the individual who has drive and determination, who has a knowledge and understanding of the business, who has some kind of knowledge and understanding of how to finance that particular business, and who has the wherewithal to stay with it. Right. Not every business is going to, and like when I go out and I talk about cycles, there are cycles in everything. There's cycles in life, there's cycles in business where everything is going to be up and down. And I'm one that's very open and honest. You know, I don't work for the IRS or any other federal government, but any other federal agency, but individuals need to understand that they need to be honest, because you will have fields and you will have hills and valleys, and problem is a lot of times they don't report it correctly.
Sure.
So if you're not reporting everything, and everybody will say, well, I work in a cash business. Well, that's really nice, but when you get to that point where you need help and you're in that valley, I got to be able to see where that hill was.
Sure.
To know that you can get back to the hill. So I encourage people all the time, be honest with yourself. Not everything is going to be rosy, and if you need help, ask for it. Credit unions and any kind of individual who's in a commercial lending setting, they want you to be honest with them. If you're having a problem, tell them. They want to help you get through those hills and valleys, and they want you to be successful. And I think you need a good lawyer, and you need a good accountant, but you need a good lender, and you need to be able to communicate that with the lender. And I think those individuals we find who are willing to do that are far more successful than those who do not want to disclose some of the times that you have concerns or problems.
Well, that's great advice. I know as credit unions, we want to partner with that small business. We don't want to just give the loan and say goodbye. We want to work with them and understand what they're going through.
And credit unions have been a tremendous resource to the small business community. Credit unions here in Rhode Island and across New England have been some of the most active lenders that we have had.
Right.
And we continue to encourage. They look for ways to do it versus look for ways not to do it. And I think that's really critical.
Huge. Great. Terrific. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us. I think you gave great advice and great information, and we appreciate it.
Great.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Stay with us. There's more to come after this message.
Family's important to me, and when I come to the credit union, they always know exactly what I need. It's like one-step shopping. You just come here and they know what your needs are. And the credit union, I feel like this is where I'm taken care of. Do you remember that show, Cheers, where everyone knows your name and you feel real comfortable in talking with them? That's what credit union is for me.
Welcome back. For many of us, learning the value of saving money or developing a budget are skills we most likely developed over the years from watching how our family members and friends did it. Today, however, managing your money can be quite challenging, as financial services have become much more sophisticated and complex. Here's Meg Cisco from Westerly Community Credit Union to introduce us to the value of a See You for Reality fair and how it's shaped an understanding of managing finances for students at Narragansett High School.
It just needs to go around this one.
I'm gonna get something back.
Yeah, you're about to get a $500 bill.
I got so lucky.
Oh, there it is. Yes, stayed. You're lucky.
Oh my God.
Today, over 100 Narragansett high school students joined us for our CU for Reality Financial Education Fair. The fair is an event that helps the student learn firsthand how to manage life on a budget, pay their bills, and save money for the future. The choices help them understand the real-life expenses they'll face in adulthood and the changes that they'll probably need to make to avoid falling into debt.
Well, here at the CU for Reality Fair, what happens is that the students are given a job and a salary, and then they have to go through all the stations, and going through the stations they have to basically figure out how they can live on a budget. You know, these are expenses, what I need for food, what I need for rent, what I need for transportation, and then of course we love our what we call our wheel of misfortune, which basically is those odds and ends things that may come up as a surprise on a monthly basis.
So at the Reality Fair, again, what students are picking up on and recognizing is all the different costs that they never really thought about. Many of them think about, oh, I want to move into a big house, or I want a really expensive car, but when they realize that they have to eat and they need to pay for heat and education, that's when reality sets in. I think when they go to the Reality Fair, what they really recognize is, even if they're coming in with an entry salary of $40,000 or $45,000, they think that's quite a bit of money, but they recognize that in reality that's not that much money, and that it's going to be more of a struggle, and that they really need to have a good understanding of how to manage their finances.
I brought in food and the different prices of food and the different categories so that the students could get an idea of how much it's going to cost them to live on their own. It's like sticker shock when you buy a car. Their eyes are like bugging out of their heads right today. Okay, are you kidding me? It's that much money for shampoo? It's that much money for cereal? I mean, they have no idea what they're in for when they walk out of that school.
It was really good. It was an extremely beneficial program, and just realizing how much everything costs, from car loans to your basic necessities, for like how much food costs and everything like that, it was just shocking to me, and I didn't even realize how much everything I'm going to need to save and all that.
Today I went around to different vendors at different booths, and I bought necessities and wants that I will buy later on in my life, and bought them based on a budget based on my career.
I got to go around to different booths and see what it's like to experience budgeting in the real world after college, and see how difficult it is to stay on a budget and have enough money to do the things that I like to do.
The biggest surprise was definitely the insurance and how much I need to put down, and maybe like the food just in general. I didn't realize how much everything costs. Going to the market and spending like $100 a week just on one visit, and then that adds up over the month, and it turns out like snacks and it's $475, and everything adds up.
I was surprised how much housing was, and at first I was decided to be a homeowner, and then I realized how much I could cut it down by sharing housing and renting with a roommate. So just the difference between that was really surprising to me.
I was definitely surprised about how much some stuff costs, especially like clothes and food, stuff that I almost take for granted because my parents buy a lot of it for me, and I realized that it can come up to like $800 a month just for necessities that I don't think of.
One of our main goals is to develop responsible citizens, and being financially responsible is very important, and students see it as being a very practical 2 activities with the EverFi program that they do over the course of several weeks, and then finishing and culminating with the Reality Fair. And they really get a hands-on approach of how to manage their finances and how important it is to understand the important components of all the things that they'll face later in life.
This whole event is trying to teach the students that this is the real world that you're walking out into. Okay, it's trying to make them complete adults. They have no idea what's going on out there. They've been pampered, and their parents have done a great job probably raising them, but they haven't given them a reality check yet. Okay, and they all need a reality check.
I love Narragansett Credit Union.
final presentation today, we'll hear from Steve White, President CEO of Westerly Community Credit Union. Here's this month's Credit Union Spotlight.
Well, established in 1948 by 5 members over a card table with less than $200 in deposits, Westerly Community Credit Union has grown into a full-service credit union with a field of membership, which is anyone who lives and works in the state of Rhode Island or southeastern Connecticut. It's grown to a point now where it's got 17,600 members through 4 locations and $257 million in assets. Of that, $230 million are in loans at this particular point in time. And from a small, humble beginning, it has grown into a very good-sized financial institution for the communities we serve. Our branch locations are currently located in Richmond, Rhode Island, South Kingston, Rhode Island. We have 2 offices here in Westerly. And in that location, we serve the majority of our members are within the Washington County, Stonington, Connecticut area, and that's where the bulk is. And those locations efficiently serve those members. Those members who are within the greater geographic area find a lot of convenience through our online banking channel. We offer mobile banking, mobile deposit. We offer all the convenient services. So even if a member is not conveniently located to a branch, they can still be very conveniently located to the credit union. We're a full-service financial institution. We provide checking, savings, certificates of deposit, all those particular types of services. And additionally, through our affiliation with CUNA Mutual, we offer investment planning services through the Members Financial Services Program. So we can basically, on the depository side, handle all the needs that most individuals would need through their entire life cycle. Additionally, on the lending side, full-service lender, personal loans, auto loans, credit card. It's our own credit card. It's not an affiliate card where our name's just on it. We actually do the underwriting. We make the decisioning. It is our card. Where we're strongest, I believe, is in our real estate lending products. We are a very strong home equity lender. Given the marketplace that we're in, which is very suburban, there's high demand for that type of product. We are also a very good first mortgage lender. We're also involved in the small business world. We have a good suite of small business offerings, once again, along the same lines as what we do with our members, trying to coach with people, work with them, trying to see what they need to get to the next level or to manage their finances fairly. So whether it's checking, deposit type services, retirement planning through our Members Financial Services Program, or business lending. And we are in a niche market. So for you, if your needs are $10,000 to $1 million, we're an ideal resource for that area because we understand that market. It's our primary focus. We love those $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 loans. Maybe a lot of institutions don't because they take a lot of time to underwrite, but our marketplace is to support the small business person, and that's what we do. Well, educating our members actually is interesting because we start young, very young as a matter of fact. We start financial literacy and education at the school level. We're currently in 18 schools in 5 area school districts, either doing the Save for America program, doing CU for Reality, which is one of my favorites. Matter of fact, 7 years doing CU for Reality. And for those who don't know, that's like a Mad City where you take students and they have that day, they have to live in a budget, and they go from station to station and see if they can make their ends meet for the month. I personally get to take place in that one. That's one of my favorite ones. It's my day to play hooky in the office, and it's one of my best things. It's one of my favorite programs of the year to do. Additionally, we sponsor the EverFi online financial literacy program in 5 high schools in the local area, and their students learn all the basics from how to manage a checking account, through investments, through insurance, and then as they complete the program, they get a financial literacy certificate. So we start there, but from that point forward, we get back to our own membership. Now, for those who don't want to come into the credit union, we have over 200 podcasts on financial literacy on our website, westerlyccu.com. But additionally, one of the things we support when we have here, and all of our staff on the retail side is trained in this, is Take the Challenge. And Take the Challenge, basically, you sit with a member and you go over basically what their financial needs and goals and wants are. And we can kind of work with you is trying to meet those goals and needs. Additionally, on top of that, to aid in financial literacy and working with our members on a one-on-one, we've been having staff trained as certified financial counselors through the CUNA program. So CUNA certifies them as financial counselors. They have to do the self-study program, and then they have to pass a proctored exam to get their certification. Our model isn't about selling a product. Our model is trying to know our member, and then from there, trying to help them with what they're trying to achieve. Do you need to spend $500 a month on a car payment, when in reality a $200 car payment allows you to put money away for a rainy day? Those are the conversations we'll have. Some people may want to just sell the product. That's not what we do here. Our goal really is to work with our member and try to get them on a sound financial footing. We feel as a good corporate citizen in this area, it is very important for us to be involved in the community. Last year, we returned, when you get down to a cash value basis, over $140,000 in donations, sponsorship to community events, programs that support the local communities in the area where our offices are located. I think it's very important that we support these particular items. It's outreach for us into the community. One of the things we've been doing now since 1984 is we do a holiday basketball tournament. It supports the sports boosters of the 4 local high schools that participate in that. Since that time frame, that tournament has generated over $214,000 in funds back to the sports boosters programs. We're proud of the fact that we underwrite all the expenses to run that program. Every gate receipt that comes in, 100% of that goes to the sports boosters. So we support local athletics along those lines. We support a lot of other local causes, but most of them are always, our main goal or thrust of it is around financial literacy. How can we promote financial literacy? Making sure people have the wherewithal to basically manage their finances and be secure later in life. That's where a lot of that money goes. But we support a lot of good causes too that aren't just financial literacy, whether they're food pantries, whether they are teacher grants, you name it, we will look at it, and if it's a good cause, we will try to do our best to support it.
Greenwood Credit Union offers a 1.75% APR home equity line of credit for home improvements or personal expenses with easy monthly payments and fast access to your cash. No fees, no closing costs. Apply now online. Visit greenwoodcu.org for complete details.
You've found the right place to bank anytime and anywhere. Greenwood Credit Union, doing what's right for you and your family for generations.
An equal housing lender.
Finally, we recently learned that one of our first guests on Better Banking has been given a high honor. Richard Garland, a teacher at North Kingstown High School, has been recognized as the Financial Literacy Instructor of the Year by Rhode Island Treasurer Seth Magaziner. Richard, we salute you for your dedication to financial education and the youth of Rhode Island. That's our show for the month of June. I'm glad you were able to join us. If you have questions about the Small Business Administration or CU for Reality fairs, or if you'd like to see us discuss a particular aspect of financial services that's important to you, please write to us at Better Banking, 845 Donald Lynch Boulevard, Marlborough, Massachusetts, 01752. For everyone at Better Banking and the Credit Unions of Rhode Island, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Better Banking.